I'm your Gemini friend. This video is going to be about North Node in Virgo or North Node in the 6th house. This is interesting because the Virgo full moon just happened February 2024, and that has been the most intense full moon that I've felt in a while, and I feel like it's really gotten me into this energy because big thing with this placement, it's essentially the axis, Pisces and Virgo, the axis of dreams and reality. It's about grounding, and it's about living life more grounded in the 3D. And this is something that I have an issue with. I tend to really sway onto the Pisces ethereal side. So it's so interesting to me that this full moon kind of taught me like the importance of practicality. But before I get into it, I do have a video that goes over the North and South Node a little bit more in the description box, but this is a big one, okay? This one is fascinating for me. I am going to try to not go on forever about it, but like I said, this placement is really about balancing spirituality with practicality. So if your North Node is in Virgo or the 6th house, it indicates that your soul has spent so much time either in past lives or just like the personality that you come into life with, or it can be conditioning from early on. So of course, before we want to consider that everyone's natal chart is entirely different, and some people have energies that are more geared towards their North Node, and some people come into life with energies that kind of make it easier to fall back into their South Node. So take everything in your chart into account. And then when it comes to the sign versus the house, if your North Node is in the sign of Virgo, that's going to be more like the characterization or actions that you want to take through the Virgo energy. If it's in the 6th house, this is more the area of life where it's going to take place, which is more in the realm of like the mundane and the practical and really getting grounded and structured. But like I was saying, this axis is about balancing spirituality with practicality. If your North Node is in Virgo or the 6th house, this indicates that you have spent lifetimes or just the conditioning initially into life, the personality that you came into life with, or the way that circumstances early on affected you. You have a tendency to prefer the comfort of the void, the nebulousness that comes with this Pisces 12th house energy. To start off, I'm just going to talk about Pisces in the 12th house a bit. This is Neptune energy, which can be inherently so formless, so focused on like the connection between us, the collective energetic aspects of life. Pisces energy just kind of wants to fade into everything and just be one with it. It doesn't necessarily have the strongest grasp on Virgo things like day-to-day structure, habits, things that keep us in the moment, things that keep us grounded. Pisces lacks groundedness. This Neptune influence, it's associated with illusions and delusions, tricking yourself even, or losing yourself. The Pisces tendency to lose yourself is why this lifetime is so important to really embrace the moment. And Virgo energy, with its detail-oriented, practical, more technical nature, is really, really useful for bringing the attention to the present. Being present is going to be possibly a challenge because daydreaming, substances that alter your state of mind, things like alcohol that get rid of your inhibitions, especially substances that really put you into that state of oneness that Pisces is always seeking. It's going to be really important in this lifetime to focus on getting down a routine, some sort of like habitual way of living that gets you out of the tendency more to go inward. The 12th house, opposite Virgo in the 6th house, opposite the 6th house, Virgo's house. The 12th house is like your own unconscious, the collective subconscious. It is ultimately introspection and like your world inside. This tendency to go within and have a much richer inner life than the outer life is what your soul wants to balance in this lifetime. Because this oneness, the safety that comes, it's like there's a deep sense of safety inside you, but the outside world is a lot more difficult to navigate. Another thing that Neptune does is it confuses, and confusion is something that you want to avoid at all costs. So the best way to get out of confusion, if you're experiencing any sort of situation where you're just not sure what to do, you're not sure of where your energy is even at, because Pisces is so empathic. It can be like a sponge for other people's feelings and emotions and intentions and thoughts, and you can pick up on so much that it's really hard to know what is just yours. But one thing that can really get you grounded in the moment is focusing on the details, and that's Virgo's big thing, is details. It's getting things in order. It's putting structure to the confusion and the chaos. One way that you can really focus on details is by using your senses. Virgo is an earth sign. It's tied so much to the earth and just to living this human life. So anything that you can do with your five senses, just I'm gonna say touch grass, but I don't mean it like that. Having a project that has like instructions and following them exactly, putting something together. Virgo likes structure. It likes things that are tangible and concrete, things that are not confusing, that are clear. Clarity. Any situation where you're lacking clarity, there's always going to be a need to put things into order, and you do that by looking at the facts, looking at what you have in front of you that is clear. Because confusion, it happens inside. It's when we're taking all of these bits of information and they're just going around in your head. But if you can structure and organize it like Virgo is so good at, then you can make more sense of the direction that you should go in. But one thing with this placement is that you can tend to, when you're confused, get overwhelmed, and then you might want to isolate or find a way to get away from the situation. Daydreaming is absolutely massive with this placement. Fantasies, reading, making up stories, and engaging content, things that pull you out of the present moment. Of course, we want to balance, and I personally could not see a life where I'm not allowed to daydream, so balance it. But it's more about focusing on those times when you are experiencing that confusion or the desire to kind of like disappear or merge with the oneness of everything that is. And that is such a wonderful skill, a wonderful ability to have such a good grasp on the concept of like knowing that we are all one and we are connected. It's a really lovely connection to that concept, and therefore to other people. You have spent lifetimes developing compassion and empathy and deeply understanding other people. So this indicates somebody who is so not judgmental, so willing to see things from other people's sides. That one other huge Neptune issue can be a big one, boundaries. This is a sign of potentially overgiving, being deeply understanding, having like a good grasp on forgiveness. You're likely humble, and these are wonderful things. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that this really clear understanding of other people's perspective, it comes at your own detriment often, and it will result in the confusion because you're mixing up yourself, your own desires and intentions, and just your energy with other people's energy. One thing that Virgo is really associated with is cleaning. Did that Virgo full moon make you want to clean up everything and get rid of it? Yeah. Virgo energy is about organizing, and it getting out the things that are unnecessary, doing that deep cleaning. And, right now I just want to appreciate Virgo energy, because it can have a bad reputation for being like overly picky or detail oriented to the extreme. But can you imagine a world where nobody had that natural inclination? People who have the personality traits that are geared towards making things better, improving them, and cleaning them up. We need that. We deeply need that. And what this placement for you indicates is that you have spent so much time in the energy of the compassion and the spiritual side of things that you actually need to focus more on the world and grounding in day-to-day organization, because you have a message. This one is very similar in this specific way to the Gemini North Node, or North Node in the third house, because that one is very much about kind of learning to, this is Mercury as well. Virgo is Mercury, Gemini is Mercury, so it makes sense. But figuring out how to fine-tune your message so that you can actually spread it. Because if you are experiencing this life of deep sensitivity, that Pisces sensitivity can be just incredibly overwhelming. And with the Mercurial Virgo energy, you're able to fine-tune your message, to have it be communicated in a way that other people are going to be able to understand, because you likely think in a more abstract way. This can even indicate like magical thinking, nothing wrong with that either. But this kind of mystical quality, such a deep understanding of things, that the way that you are understanding and the way that you are explaining, a lot of people might just not get it because it's not quite grounded in reality enough for the average person. Because most people are living this earth life, and you have explored the deeper realms. You understand the importance of it. But in order to be able to spread this message to people and to get them to understand, and to be able to spread your compassion and use it in a more practical sense to heal people, because you're a natural healer, you need to get more grounded. You need to get on a level that they're going to be understanding you, because you might tend to be more like up in the air, up in the clouds, while most people are standing on earth. And the Virgo, it's just the indicator that you need to come down to earth in this lifetime, probably more than you want to. It's interesting too, because as a spiritual path, it's funny, it seems counterintuitive. It seems like the goal is to reach that point of oneness and deep understanding, love, just love for all beings and everything. So having to focus on the opposite of that, like, even to me, it was almost difficult to figure out a way to explain the importance of this, because I too really like to live in that Neptune energy, in meditation and in my own mind. I'm a huge daydreamer, but that's why it's so funny that I think that the full moon like really taught me this lesson in practicality and the necessity of it. And the thing is that with this, having this Neptune energy on your south node, it indicates such incredible creativity. It's just that you need to figure out how to channel the creativity into something more practical. Because like I mentioned isolation before, it can be so overwhelming to be out in the world and to be so deeply sensitive. So the idea of being of service, like the Virgo North Node indicates, it can be overwhelming. That's why there's a real need to positively use your creativity, like natural talents for poetry, art, music. Music is a big one. Natural talents that you have should be emphasized. It's just that you have to find a very earthly way of actually allowing the energy to flow. Because think of a situation where you have this overwhelm, it can really result in anxiety, that lack of organization in your head, but your intentions are so good. Like, this placement indicates such a pure, genuine, compassionate, loving energy. Capabilities of loving people on a level that most people can't, but you have to be able to use it practically. That's why, like, healing modalities that really have to do with your hands, Virgo, is so hands-on and practical. So that's one good way to channel this healing energy, but it can definitely be in more like artistic forms. It's just that the goal is to use that compassion that you have developed for humanity, for the good of everybody. But to get there, you have to be able to be present, to know what's necessary in the present moment. With a placement like this, spend so much time in fantasies that you don't really have a clear direction of where you want to go, because you can see so many possibilities and you can easily live them out in your head. So just being decisive can be a really, really powerful thing. You can even use your fantasies to see what your own personal like goals and values are. If you find yourself fantasizing about something in particular frequently, that's likely something that you value. And it's really important to actually take practical steps towards making that your reality, because that is what is going to help your soul to feel more balanced, is to actually have tangible, practical results coming from your desires, because your desires are so pure. For the most part, like, coming from this place, we need your energy. It's very precious, but that's why it's also really important to protect it, because of that Neptune susceptibility to other people's thoughts, feelings, opinions, ideas, and really taking them on. There's a big need to clear your energy and make sure that you're not taking on things that aren't yours, because that is most likely the source of confusion and overwhelm and anxiety. It's going to be other people's stuff. But anything that you can do to organize things for yourself, say making it a habit to at least do that one thing that you always feel like you should be doing but you forget, like really focus on making that a habit. Routines, having a schedule, a daily routine, making a planner, notes, and like a to-do list can be incredibly helpful. Even if that doesn't appeal to you, I recommend trying it, because even just writing things down, I mean, one thing as a Gemini that is so incredibly helpful for me when I am confused and anxious, which that happens all the time, is to just write down the things that are going through your head, especially the ones that just keep recurring, because once it's on the paper, you know you won't forget it. I know that for me, I find that things will like come up and I will want to remember them, but at the same time, I don't want to remember it right in that moment, so I just kind of store it somewhere. And if I'm ever thinking of something over and over, I need to just write it down. I need to just get it out of my head, because it helps. It gets it out of your head. The more notebooks and things you have written down that you can possibly have, the more you can organize your life, the better things are going to flow for you, because focusing on this energy of organization and structuring things is really, really helpful for your soul growth. And it can be really helpful to talk to people, get their perspective. Even when, since the Pisces Neptune tendency towards possibly being deceived or manipulated, that can happen due to having such a caring nature and even picking up other people's desires in the moment, like that can happen. So if you get someone who you trust's perspective on the situation, or if when you're going into something, like say you're laying boundaries, if you first start off by getting their perspective instead of giving yours first, that's less chance that people have to manipulate your energy and more like facts and potential structure for you. And the thing with this is like, if you find that people have been manipulative to you, and if you attract users and have your energy drained frequently, it's a big need to put up like psychic barriers if you can, some form of energetic boundary for yourself. And you likely have to do that pretty regularly, because people who are seeking to use your pure and loving energy will just be naturally drawn to you. This is a risk with this placement, and because energy like yours can be just delicious for people who are lacking within themselves, but this should be empowering. Don't feel like you're a victim, like people are just going after you. You have the full ability to protect yourself. It's just that doesn't come naturally. So unless otherwise specified in your chart. So any measures that you can take that just work for you naturally, to protect your energy and to clear your energy, are going to be really important with this placement. The thing with this is that it needs to be intuitive. There are so many different techniques that you can do, and if it works for you, it's the right one. That's why there are so many different techniques, because different techniques work for different people, and whatever resonates with you, that's the right thing for you. There really is no right or wrong. It's more about trying things out. And that's another huge thing with this placement, is that if you ever find that you're just stuck, like you don't know what to do next, you're overthinking, you've got so many options, you don't know which direction to go in, be decisive. Just pick one and go with it. Like if it was not a success, try another one. There's no harm in trying. Failure, it's not really a thing. It's experimentation. Obviously, this doesn't apply for like every single situation, but for the most part, it's always better to do something, to act in the physical realm, on earth. Do something instead of being in your head, instead of being alone, instead of running through scenarios in your mind. Always do something tangible and practical. The outside world, the 3D world that we live in, is actually incredibly important to you in this lifetime, because balance is everything. All 12 signs are necessary for balance. And there is importance in having a connection to the earth that we're living on, instead of just focusing on more like the higher realms or spirituality. The earth is here for us. It is alive and supporting us, and forming that connection with the earth and like feeling the natural providing compassionate energy that comes from the earth can be so helpful and healing for you. You have the ability to heal the earth as well. One thing that I personally love to do for grounding is that if I'm in like a calm, relaxed state, I will send my love into the earth, like I have roots, and then suck love back up into myself and just have a cycle of giving and receiving love. It's very good for grounding. But of course, you want to find your own practice that works for you. And there can be a thing here with, when it comes to people who are really highly intuitive, you're picking up on things that are completely unseen sometimes. Sometimes things that other people aren't even aware of. You might pick up on something within them that they will then be like, no, that's not even true. And when you have like an intuitive hit and then it turns out to not be true, it's really important not to doubt your intuition, because it is the trust in the intuition itself that helps build it. And oftentimes you are picking up on something that might not be like understood by your conscious mind, but there's something there, and your natural intuitive capabilities are kind of beyond regular earthly comprehension. But it's very important with this to not lean into your intuition and to back it up with actual facts when you can. And you use your intuition as a guide of the direction that you want to go in or stay away from. Any facts that you can find, tangible facts that back that up, that builds your confidence through the Virgo energy. I hope this makes sense. It's kind of difficult to explain what I'm trying to say, but essentially it's about not losing your natural intuitive abilities, not focusing too much on like earthly practical things, but always using them when you are finding yourself in that state of wanting to escape reality. Escaping reality is something that you should do very much in moderation. Like a healthy meditation practice is wonderful, but relying on substances to relax, for you in this lifetime, there's always going to be a better way, because you have already experienced that dissociative, immaterial existing. You've you've mastered that energy. You don't need any more of it. You have a bit too much of it, and that's why your soul wants to balance it in this lifetime by really experiencing what Earth has to offer for us, because we're here for this experience, because there is a point to your experience. You really are here for a deeply significant reason. Healing other people, healing the energy of the earth, and introducing the much needed love into just humanity. This is a lifetime where you wanted to learn empowerment and mastery over the material realm. You, when you're utilizing it, have an incredible capability to build. Like when in that Virgo flow, the in the moment, focusing on what needs to be done, you're incredible at that. You have the capability to build something so much more significant, and your energy is so needed, but it needs to be expressed outwardly and not inwardly. You've done lifetimes of inner work. You don't need to doubt your intentions or that you're coming from a good place, but you do need to bring that energy outward. But it's important to not feel a sense of obligation with this. If you feel like, ugh, this is such a pain, I have to heal everybody, that's not a good way to go about it. The most important thing is that you have this deep sense of compassion and can connect with people on such an intensely intuitive level. You have this ability to feel for people, and by focusing on the individual and on what you care about, on the person and helping them, that should be your motivating factor. It should be something that you genuinely love to do, that comes from your heart. So if you are doing something that feels like it's service, it feels like it's Virgo, but you're not loving it, first assess the situation and see if you're coming at it from a place of your own energy being depleted first, because that's highly likely, since you are so giving and other people will tend to take without even realizing it. Always make sure that your energy is filled first. That's why the Virgo focus on health and practicality and like routine, keeping yourself just tuned up, whatever the term is. Keeping yourself healthy and having structure to your energetic protection, especially, that is what builds a firm foundation to where you're actually feeling like you have the energy to help other people. If you feel depleted, focus on what tangible acts you can take to organize your mind, your body, your space, cleaning up your space. Sometimes we just feel overwhelmed and confused because things are messy. So throwing things away, just making it neat, having a good space for yourself, especially like your sacred space where you're doing your meditation practice or whatever it is that you do, your creativity, your when you do go inward, having that space be very clean and immaculate and energetically clean as well. That's going to be super important, because that messiness, it affects us psychologically as well, and it can really add to the confusion, and you don't want that. It can be really useful to if you find yourself drained when you're talking to somebody, make note of that and try to avoid interacting with them too much, or if that's unavoidable, really focus on your protection and your barriers around them. You can set an intention before you even interact with them that your energy is protected. Like, it's up to you. It's your energy. You have complete sovereignty over your own energy. So as long as you believe that you can protect yourself, you can. But it's more that unconscious giving that you do that can be so incredibly draining. If you assess all of your relationships and see like which ones are energizing, which ones are draining, then you can also know with facts the direction that you should be going in and the people that you should be giving to and the people that are going to be there for your support. And there can be a tendency with this Pisces is like a natural martyr, so please take care that you're not doing this. I completely understand it though. There can be a sense of being so familiar with pain and understanding other people's pain on such a deep level that familiarity almost makes it like to where you can get to where you're almost indulging in the suffering, not in a way that you enjoy it, but more like, okay, more and more suffering, I'll just keep getting worse and worse, and maybe somebody will notice. Because in this lifetime with a Virgo North Node or in the 6th house, there's that need to focus on getting yourself in the right, like in a healthy mindset first. This doesn't mean that you can't necessarily rely on other people, but you need to be the first person that's there for you. And you need to make sure that you are like asserting your needs and addressing things when they need to be addressed, that you're not just letting things get worse kind of for the sake of like hoping that somebody will save you someday, or thinking that you deserve it because you don't, or whatever other reasons, thinking that this is how it is. Like Virgo North Node, you can practically work to change your reality, and that's a really important thing. That's why empowerment is such a big thing with this placement, because it can feel disempowering to be so sensitive to other people's energies, or even to have such familiarity with like the etheric realm. It can almost seem pointless when you have this sense of like material things aren't going to fulfill you. You want to feel that oneness. You want to feel lost and just dissolve, and be able to lose yourself. It can be really discouraging to feel like nothing in the world is going to satisfy you, but the satisfaction that you get is through helping other people. It's through that sense of knowing that you worked on yourself, you empowered yourself, and then you healed somebody else. Like, that's the greatest thing that you can possibly do with your energy. So many times I'm going to say you're here for a reason and we need you. So even if you're not like regularly interacting with other people, doing some sort of work that feels that it is for the service of humanity, that you are giving your wonderful loving energy outwardly, that is the important thing. It's interesting, like this placement has that sense that it's actually safe to feel lost in a way, that confusion can feel safe, but safety for you in this lifetime is in having a practical direction, in knowing the facts, in having something tangible that you can prove. And I want to mention with the like natural martyr thing that I was saying before, that sense of like wanting somebody to notice that you're hurting or come and save you, or at least just recognize your pain, recognize the sacrifice that you've been making for all of us. This can come from kind of a sense that other people might have the same sensory abilities that you do, that they might perceive things on the same level that you do, that they might be able to pick up on that within you, but other people are not going to be as sensitive as you are for the most part. Sensitive to other people's needs and their feelings and like what's going on with them. So this is why you kind of have to be your own hero in that way, by taking control of the situation in the way that you can, and very clearly first determining what you need and then making that known. That's what's going to give you the power to improve your situation, which once your situation is improved, everything gets better for everybody, because you have this natural ability to just improve things when you work on them, when you do put your energy into the material world. And when I say material world, I don't mean like materialism. I mean like just physical earth, the 3D world that we are living in. Think of the way that when you have your eyes closed, you're able to pick up on things more easily than if you're distracted by the things that you can see clearly in front of you. I think of Pisces energy as having that really strong extrasensory ability, but the confusion can be like blurriness or blindness. And Virgo is like the glasses in this situation. It practicalizes things and it makes them clear in front of you so that you can see them. Both have their strong traits, but like think about it if you combine them. And always remember that being of service to humanity does not mean allowing people to abuse you or to drain you or to just using you in ways that are unpleasant to you. Anytime that somebody is drawing upon your energy in a way that does not feel good, you have a right to put up boundaries and to assert yourself. This can indicate a tendency towards being really, really overgiving in relationships, over identifying with the partner and with their characteristics and tendencies even, or altering yourself even subconsciously in ways that you think that they would prefer. So there's a really big need here to go at relationships, getting the facts straight first, like seeing, assessing, and making sure before you lose yourself in that romantic rose-colored glasses sort of energy. I mean, don't do that, but before you lose yourself in the romance, make sure that it's something that you want to lose yourself in. Because, I mean, you never want to lose yourself, but there is just such deep empathy and like a desire to merge with other people with this placement. So make sure that all of your relationships, especially like romantic ones, are very two-sided, are totally mutual, and that you're getting all the support that you need. And you can get the support that you need by telling them what support you need. If you feel that you can't, they're probably not the right person for you, or you just need to try and see. You need to have these experiences that prove to yourself and build up that confidence that you can affect your reality. You can have actually massive changes. You have that ability. And when it comes to rose-colored glasses, with the fantasies, there can be a tendency to make things better than they are in your head, and then reality doesn't match up, and then you're disappointed. So it's important to, I mean, there can be a tendency with this placement as well to pull back. Like, you reach that point where you've been drained enough and you need to recharge. It's going to be really important to express to the people that you care about that you're going to recharge, that you're going to take this time inward and not to just disappear, because people care about you and they can worry if you just disappear on them, or if it's like hard to get a hold of you. And when it comes to Virgo, being associated with health and like taking care of your body, Neptune has sort of an influence over things where it can make you highly sensitive to like anything that you consume, food and drinks and anything, even like medications. So you might need to be more careful with things like that. Just really take note of how they affect you, how it feels in your body, and like from a very genuine place, whether it is good for you or not, whether it feels like growth, it feels like it's invigorating your cells, making you healthier, or if it feels like it weighs you down. That can be a thing with the Neptune influence, like allergies to things, just highly sensitive to what's put in your body. And Virgo details, getting more specific can help in many cases. Say you have like a dream of doing this one really big ambitious thing. That can be very overwhelming. So break it down, make a list in order of the things that you need to get done, or even make a list of what it is about this thing that is important to you, and then go back to that list whenever you're feeling confused. That like a reminder of why you are doing it. That can be helpful in so many different situations. And last little thing I'm going to mention, Virgo is associated with pets, because Virgo in the 6th house, the progression of the houses and like our development, Virgo is associated with learning to fine tune and take care of things, which when we're children, pets can be one of the things that we take care of before we take care of anything else. Learning to help another life like maintain itself, and the routine of it, the having a pet that has needs and meeting those needs, that can be such good, not just practice, but just energy for you, having pets and having things to take care of, plants too. Virgo is so nurturing. Anything that you can have that is like a physical thing, like an animal or a plant, or all sorts of other things. This can be like cooking for other people, taking care of your body, other people's bodies, like in cosmetics type of cosmetics, like aesthetics, massage, things like that. Anything that is focused on improvement and it is something that you can hold or see clearly in front of you. This is the main goal with this placement. It's building a solid, practical foundation so that you can actually have the strength and energy and empowerment to use your compassion for the good of everybody. This is a really powerful placement to have. It can be kind of a difficult one, but I promise that you're strong enough. So I'll leave it at that. Let me know what you think, any experiences. I'm just really curious about it. I really, really love this energy. I love this axis in general. But yeah, let me know. I do offer personal readings if you're interested in a natal chart reading or a synastry reading. And I guess that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. Bye.